Welcome back. Today we're going to be sharpening a Para 3 in Maxamet on my new 240-400 Venev resin bonded diamond stone. Now, one thing I want to address is the huge dichotomy of people online that either say Maxamet is easy to sharpen, or more commonly that it is a difficult steel to sharpen. What I find most likely is that a majority of those people are using alumina or ceramic based flat stones, and they are simply not hard enough to cut the carbides in Maxamet, or they're producing too large of a burr and causing some chipping, which is definitely a possibility. You just have to switch back and forth on both sides of the bevel and just make sure you're grinding evenly and trying to reduce the burr as you go, even on your coarsest stone. So right now I'm just blending all the scratches into the plunge. Constantly checking my work. The sharpening took about an hour to do, and I've condensed it down to around 12 minutes. Actually, right here, I'm doing something that I do a lot in the sharpening. I put my finger over the plunge grind area, and I just work on that area specifically because there's kind of a flat area um, that gently sweeps into the belly. So I'll be going back and forth from working on the plunge and then blending that into the entire bevel itself. You can start to see those 240 scratches really starting to come through. I'm using very little pressure. I would say just enough to keep the bevel on the stone at this point, because I'm trying to reduce the burr, and that 240 stone is rather aggressive. So Yeah, here's the bevel. It's looking pretty good at this point. I usually run my knives through that hard felt block, but at the moment I couldn't find it. A piece of cork will do, so just getting all the little pieces of burr fragments off. This is my 400 Venev. You notice a change in feel immediately on the stone. The previous stone uses their legacy binder, which has abrasive elements to it, and this side has none at all. It's just resin and diamond, so it's very smooth. It's kind of deceiving though, because the stone is actually very fast, so I'm using a lot of caution here, taking my time. I'm really just doing stropping strokes at this point, just to kind of get a feel for it. If you haven't seen my previous video on how to sharpen down to the plunge grind, I recommend going back and watching that if you're interested in doing this. Now, if you're new, I would recommend getting in at least several months, if not a year, of sharpening in before you try this. It's a pretty advanced technique in my opinion, and you really need your foundation down before you can go into this and not completely screw your bevel up. At this point in the sharpening, I'm just trying to reduce the burr. I've heard that Maxamet doesn't really produce a burr, but I can tell you for certain that my particular knife does. It's not very hard to remove, so I wouldn't stress out about it too much. You just treat it like any other knife if you're using the right abrasives. So you can start to see there on the right side that there's a little bit of load up starting to occur there in the top left. It really doesn't affect the way the stone cuts at all, which is a very interesting feeling. It's really starting to come together at this point. There's some kind of hazy marks here and there, but I'm going to take care of that. I sped this part up just because it's starting to get a little monotonous, but enjoy the sharpening footage nonetheless. Okay, so we're done. You can see that there's no more cloudiness left. We've got a nice even scratch pattern all the way across the bevel. Really happy with it. Doing a quick cut test. You can really hear how aggressive that edge is. It's extremely loud. Here we'll get a good view of the load up on the stone, what I was sharpening over. See that there in the light? Not really much on the other side. Okay, this is a heavy concentration Pan American 1 micron diamond spray. Really, really good stuff. Doesn't take a whole lot, and it creates a beautiful polish in really no time at all. Really gives you that sticky, aggressive edge, especially with that 800 grit base that I have. You can listen close enough, you can hear my fingertips sticking to the edge. That there was 0.5 Bark River emulsion, the CBN emulsion. I'm just doing this for style points. It's kind of polishing up the bevel a bit more, giving it a little bit more sharpness, but I didn't really need to do this. Alright, so we're at the end of the video. Let's talk about the stone. If you're into really hard stones, I think you're really going to enjoy it. It cuts very quickly. It's very pleasurable to sharpen on, and it's very inexpensive for what you're getting. The 240 side is aggressive enough to reprofile, and the 400 side is definitely fine enough to stop on with a steel like Maxamet or something that benefits from a coarse edge. Here's a compilation of hairs I was blowing through. Couldn't get any good footage of hair whittling. There it is. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to more Super Steel and Venev videos in the future. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.